Good morning, good afternoon.
I'm still on mute. Sorry. Am I still on mute?
We're good? Okay. Good afternoon. We'll call this meeting to order. Today is Thursday, July 28th, 2021.
Oh, it's January.
Huh?
Did you say July?
Did I say July?
January.
Sorry, January. I'm just pushing it forward. January 28th, 2021. This is the Jobs and Economics Opportunities Committee meeting. So first off, I'd like to do roll call, please.
Michael Davis,
Present.
Ralph Acton,
Present.
Hope Allen is not here. Martin, and I always have trouble with this one. Is it Scheiderer? Not here. Linda Mather. She's joined us on WebEx. Is she able to unmute?
I can unmute.
Linda, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you now. We're gonna go ahead and mute you for
Okay.
Kurt Conover,
Present.
Jay Michelin,
Present.
Les Stearns.
Present.
Thank you.
If you want to let her know that if she wants to speak for a moment, she can just hold the space bar down.
Okay. All right. We also have in the audience.
So I am Shelby Roberts.
David Engel, Office of Economic Growth. I just want to let you know that Troy Jackson, who's normally attending these meetings, is out of town this week.
And we have Steve Smith.
Steve Smith, business analyst for the Office of Economic Growth.
Perfect. All right.
Oh, I'm Cassandra Penrod. I am the Development Services Public Communications Specialist.
Okay. Welcome. Thank you for attending the meeting. First off, we'll open up the floor to public comment.
There is no public comment.
Perfect. All right, moving on to old business. In the packet in front of you, gentlemen, and it was emailed out to the JEOC emails. The meeting minutes from November 18th, 2020. If everybody had an opportunity to review those minutes, I'd like to open this up to
If you have a
motion.
Yeah, motion, then a second in discussion.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted for November 18, 2020.
And a second.
Okay, so motion was by Mr. Kurt Conover and seconded by Jay. And any discussion? No? Okay.
If I can interrupt, there has been some slight changes to the agenda. So if you look at your packet briefly, there's just been some additions to some of the things that we want to cover today.
Yes.
Including our business analyst presentation. So we just need to have an approval for that amendment.
It doesn't require a vote.
Oh, it doesn't?
Oh,
No.
yeah. Okay. Okay, so can I have somebody call for a vote for accepting the meeting minutes from November? All right.
I
Call for a vote by.
call for a vote to accept the minutes as written.
Okay, can I have a second? Second, okay. That was by Les.
You can just take a voice vote on this.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by like sign?
Actually, I'm sorry. We have to do roll call because.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, we have a hybrid.
So I'm sorry. We do have to do roll call. So with the voting, we're going to have Michael Davis.
I accept.
Ralph Acton.
I accept.
Linda Mather.
I accept.
Kurt Conover.
Accept.
Jay Michelin.
Accept.
Les Stearns.
Accept.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Shelby, for keeping us on track. Appreciate that. All right, moving on to the annual report to the county commissioners. That's a PowerPoint presentation that Mr. Engel has been so graciously to have his team develop for us. It's in our packets. Had a chance to review it, but I appreciate there was a lot of information put in there, talking about the projected revenues and the loans that have come out. The approved summaries for 2020 and how far things have gone with it. I thought it was very, very well done, well put together from what we had requested, especially in our the SOPs and the projects. One question that I had for you, Mr. Engel, on the very last slide that I had, it just says new business and then new project updates, but that was kind of left empty.
Can I just walk over and just do a little bit slide?
Yep. Just on this one? Or am I looking at the wrong one?
Well, this isn't the.
That's not the one?
annual report. This is for today's presentation.
Is that one? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the wrong one. Not a problem. I'm human. I made my mistake for the day.
Not a mistake. We just, since we meet quarterly and we have so much going on, we barrage you with information.
You do.
I had prepared a PowerPoint summary for your annual report, and I had sent it out earlier, probably about a month and a half ago or more. So that's the document that the chair was referring to.
Okay. All right. So going back to it then. On slide 10 of this document, we do have the residents' economic empowerment programs. Personally, I would like to see, it's great to have them listed out. Could we get, I know that like with the AM skills, we discussed at the last meeting that there was, the 81, I believe it was 81 homeless individuals that went through some of the programs and then got placed in jobs and stuff like that. Is there a way with the economic empowerment programs that we might be able to put?
Sure. There's some human stories there. We could memorialize that 78 homeless individuals obtained full-time employment through CareerSource, and that AmSkills also has placed homeless people. At least one lady with children got her trained and got her an industrial high-paying job, and now she has her own apartment. The kids are fine, so we can do that.
Yeah, I like those. I'm sure the county commissioners would appreciate those as well, to be able to add real life stories to that.
Okay.
Open up for discussion. Does anybody else have any other thoughts that they would like to have added to?
Instead of listing these, you're wanting to highlight specific points in each program? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, if they have, for each of them, I don't know if it's possible for you guys to document how many, maybe.
Well, we may do a slide after this called notable accomplishments of our job skills program, something like that.
We could do that, but also maybe like AmSkills, 34,
Oh, they mean the metric side.
Yeah, 34 people, CareerSource, and then afterwards we could do a slide that had more of the more impactful, like how many homeless people we were able to help.
We certainly can do that, and in fact, they're required to submit periodic updates, and we have all the current data. So if the Board of County Commissioners gave them X dollars, we can report to that money that came out of the penny and what it achieved up to date.
Yeah.
for the year of 2020, of course.
Yeah, I think we should do that for each of these for the
Okay.
year, if we could, please. I will expect that update tomorrow.
It'll be ready by 5 PM, sir. We have a full-time business analyst.
Anybody else? Have any comments or anything? Ms. Mathers, do you have any comments on it through WebEx?
No, I don't have any. I think that's a good idea. Give some notable accomplishments to encourage the continuation of it.
Okay. Great. Well, then, don't believe we have to vote on that, do we?
It's just giving me direction.
Yeah.
So I will produce that, but I need guidance as to, after I prepare it, I'll send it out to the group, but I think that we should get me feedback before the next meeting so I can at least deliver it to the Board of County Commissioners.
Yeah, I think, from my perspective, again, everybody has a voice here, that from what I've read off of it, I think everything else is good with it. So if we could get those numbers, I think that would complete it.
Do you want me to produce a cover transmittal for it? Just alerting that this is the annual report. We're a bit delayed because of the COVID pandemic. And we're very excited to present a very active year for 2020, something like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. I would go with that. All right.
What is the anticipated date for presenting this to the board?
Well, the committee opted to do it in written form this year because of the agenda and the fact that they're hybrid meetings.
Right.
So we're going to just transmit it to the board. Maybe the county attorney may want it on the agenda as a notable item. And that's the way we're going to transmit this year. Next year, hopefully, we'll be back to normal and we'll be able to make a actual physical presentation.
All right.
Yep. Okay. Next, status of approved JEOC trust fund projects and accounting report.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. Not to belabor, the data, because a lot of it is the same as last time, with just incremental increases and changes in the sums. I just wanted to point out that our capture on the penny is up $1 million from the last meeting. If you recall, we spoke about the haircut our projections took because of COVID and the fact that we've been outperforming year over year in spite of COVID. And the reality is the Office of Management and Budget has conceded that we can put another $1 million into the hopper, and we have that reflected in the slide called JEO's Trust Fund. And all of the slides are about the same as they were. We've been expending money in the various programs that we're involved with, as well as the overhead in the office. But I would note that there's some new items which I'll cover under new business. There's the Moffitt Cancer Center, which is now a new project. And it's a $16 to $17 million penny project. And we'll go over that in a little more detail later on. So I want to have that information for your review. So I don't, because we have a lot of other things on the agenda today. And if you have any particular questions, then please feel free to reach out to us. Everything here, if you're interested in a particular project, we have an enormous amount of detailed information. So if you want to know about one of our workforce training programs, the metrics, you're interested in, Encompass Health, just as an example, we can give you the accounting sheets on it, the actual resolutions, everything is here. And if you want to look under rocks, just all you have to do is contact me and we'll send it right out to you. The next item, because that's important, I know it's going to consume rather a large amount of time potentially, is the new JEOC member and recommendation. So I just wanted to say that it's not our job as your staff support apparatus to make a decision, but what we did was we advertised as duly required. We called through the requests that we had coming in to make sure that they were eligible to serve on the JEOC. One particular individual lived in another county, and of course we had to reject their application. Then we produced what we felt was a objective score, but this is really up to the committee. And what happens is if you find a applicant that you think is superior, at least for the time being, even though they're all highly qualified, then you would vote on a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners, and I would convey that recognition as your agent here on staff. And I'm going to turn it over to Shelby Roberts, who prepared all of the scoring sheets and has details and information and can answer questions. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. So you should have all already received these in your emails, and you have them in your packet as well. What we did is we went through some of the requirements that we look for, some of the background that we're looking at, and that's what we've done with that rubric. So you should have this page before you go into the LinkedIn and the resumes. So what we've done here is grab my glasses. So obviously a core requirement is that they're a Pasco County resident. As David had mentioned, that we had somebody that was not a resident had signed up, so we could not have them in here. So anybody that's here is a resident. They have submitted a letter of interest. They've submitted a resume, either via an actual resume or they've shared their LinkedIn profile as their resume. And so we just ranked these people, Mr. Quinn, Mr. Bassinger, Mr. Shahan, and Mr. Rock. And that's kind of the order that we saw them in as far as their scoring goes. Obviously, it's up to you, but just based on their background, their education, things like that, we went through all of their resumes and compiled that information. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
I didn't have any questions. Miss Mathers, did you have any questions on WebEx?
No, I didn't have it. I reviewed the resumes and I feel that they're all very qualified.
Say that again.
I did review the resumes that were sent out before, and I thought that all three were great qualified.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I agree with that.
So ultimately, you're going to have to make a motion in a second.
So first, I guess we need to open it up to make somebody make a motion that we need to choose a new candidate.
Well, personally, I
Well,
like the scoring that they've developed, and
well, we gotta set a motion to do it, and then we open up for discussion. So can I get somebody to make a motion to begin the resume submission process, evaluation process?
Sure. I'd like
Okay,
to make
all right.
a motion to open up the resume selection for our new position that's open.
Okay, can I have a second?
Second.
Jay seconds. All right, now open up for discussion. Ralph, you have the floor.
Yeah, I'm just using the scoring and looking at the history and resumes. Personally, I think that it would benefit this committee to add Mr. Quinn as a member. He has a very strong resume and has scored well on their scoring system.
Okay.
I guess I have a question. Have all of these candidates been screened and actually realize exactly what the expectations are with regard to being on this?
I don't believe I haven't had personal contact with any of the candidates on that level. I believe that we posted the description of what the service requires. And what I'd like to do is I think Mr. Quinn is very anxious to volunteer his time, but I'll call him up and make sure before I pass a recommendation on to the board. So he understands that he's required not only to attend quarterly meetings, but there's on occasion there'll be tasks that he'll be asked to assist us in and provide some input. So,
piggybacking that, I know that when I got accepted to the board, I had a phone call and, where it was talked to about the whole thing. Did that happen with these individuals as well, or no?
As Mr. Engel has said, we've not done any phone calls, but we've done email communication with them, and they know what's expected. It's based on the press release that went out for the position, and they've reviewed the website.
Okay.
I saw some of the advertisements and requests for submission of applicants through various sources in the county, and I think it's pretty obvious what's expected of any of these potential candidates.
Thank you.
yeah, I didn't want to prejudice my position in it, and we speak to one person, not speak to another. So we didn't conduct in-person interviews, and you could even make a recommendation. I'm not telling you to do it, so don't take it as a recommendation. But you could say, "Oh well, Mr. Quinn, can you come in and speak to us at our next meeting?" Or you could do that. You have every option that an employer would have.
And they're all aware that it is a 2-year commitment, because I know sometimes you get a year into something and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yes.
Is this position the 2 years because it's filling David? So how long did David still have?
Should be like a year and a half, correct?
He was reappointed a year ago, I think, so he would be a year left. We'll look into it because
I will look into that.
Because when the committee makes a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners, we have to reaffirm everybody else's position that wasn't taken care of because of COVID. So
Right.
we'll determine that.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, well, we have the wonderful situation that we have plainly a number of good candidates.
Yeah.
You can't say that in all hiring situations, and in fact, I deal with a lot of businesses that are doing everything they can to figure out how to find those candidates. That having been said, I like Mr. Bassinger, and I don't want to speak to what our process ought to be if we want to interview these people. That's something we ought to discuss. But just on paper, I like Mr. Bassinger. Certainly in the scoring, comes up a 7, just as Mr. Quinn does. But what I like about him is he's had operational leadership experience, and I'm very big into operational leadership. I know lots of people who live up on the 55th floor, their feet never touch the ground, and claim they know something about business. This guy's been there on the ground. Now, Mr. Quinn has been on the ground in the sense of the sales function, and I've spent some time in sales. I have a lot of respect for that, but Bassinger has this broader operational leadership, and the other thing he's got is this guy's got IT. Any business responsibility today, you do better if you speak the language of IT, at least, because there's so much, well, since we're being recorded, I won't say the word, shall we say, confusion going on around it. It's a dime a dozen for people who tell you you need AI. They don't even know what it means. So I think all these people are good. Bassinger stands out for me.
So I'm going to piggyback you because I did not look at the front page because it didn't have pictures. So I just switched. So I didn't understand the scoring part of it. So I actually went through them before I knew what the rank structure was. And My top two was Mr. Bassinger and Mr. Quinn. And I also like Mr. Bassinger as well, as more of my number one, mainly because of the business analytics. I'm a little prejudiced because I'm a business kind of guy. And that I looked at with the manufacturing portion of this, of Mr. Quinn, although that manufacturing is one of our key needs. To me, it is more sales and not operations. So to me, I felt that was more of a sales component, not somebody who's actually in the manufacturing. I mean, he's in the manufacturing business, but he's more sales oriented. Whereas Mr. Bassinger is business analytics and finance stuff, where we have the position it was filled in banking, so kind of finance stuff. So, and a lot of what we're doing, again, we're reviewing information from the Board of County Commissioners, and as it being an oversight committee, we're just kind of watching to make sure everything is on the up and up, making sure Mr. Engel's doing his job. And so I put Mr. Bassinger at number one as well, but I put Alex Quinn at number two. You keep the tallies over there. Hang on a second.
I also agree with that. I said I also agree with that order. Mr. Bassinger first and Mr. Quinn second.
Okay, so I got, you agree with that about Mr. Bassinger? You're kind of breaking up, so we apologize.
Mr. Bassinger first and Mr. Bassinger first and Mr. Quinn second.
Okay, all right, we got that. All right. Thank you, Linda. Kurt, Les, do you guys have any opinions?
I am kind of tied on both Mr. Quinn and Mr. Bassinger for the same reasons that everybody else has spoke on. So they're both very, very strong candidates. And I could go either way with either one of those gentlemen.
I'm the same way. I feel they're both good candidates. We're lucky we have a couple that close.
Mr. Engel, what was your suggestion before Ms. Mathers?
Well, first of all, maybe Mr. Bassinger, maybe he's been waiting, he may have a change of heart, hopefully not, but well, I could also relate to Mr. Quinn that it was very difficult for the committee. We'd like to keep his name and resume in our folder. So in the event that a seat came up, we could jump on that and not have a delay in representation. About that.
Absolutely.
I think it's a good idea. And again, after you explain the criteria and the fact that we really expect them to be here on a quarterly basis, and that may change somebody's opinion anyways.
Yes, and then you had asked about the service terms, just so everybody has that in their mind. For agriculture, it'd be 1 year, banking finance is 1 year, manufacturing is 2, private industry is 2, real estate is 1.
Okay. I think it's a good idea. I have a question about that. Because of the resolution, are we allowed to do that without having it open to the public?
Oh, you mean the actual recommendation for another seat that is open?
Correct.
Well, that's true. We do have to advertise every time a seat comes open. Well, we can hold it in Mr. Quinn's folder, and, you know, we can let him know he scores very high, and it was, you know, it was very difficult for us to do, but the particular seat that was open had a certain bent on which industry we needed representation, and we'd like to keep him as a live candidate next time.
Okay.
Don't want to chase him away.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any more conversation?
Just a point about getting back to Mr. Quinn. I've done my share of hiring, sadly also some firing. But it always is important to me and a winning strategy to keep the faith with the people who are candidates, to get back to them, let them know. They've reached out to us, they're good people. We do the same for them. And I can't guarantee it'll pay us off immediately, but in the long run it will.
It's nice to see so many applicants for this high-paying position.
It is. Well, as one board I served on, I was told, well, look, the pay isn't very good, but don't worry, you get a 10% raise in January.
All right, so we'll need somebody to call for a vote.
Well, we need a
We
motion.
can move forward with that. Or motion for, call for a vote.
So I move that we pass on the recommendation that Mr. Bassinger is the candidate, and that furthermore, we get back to Mr. Quinn with our respect and appreciation.
Second the motion.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
That'd be me.
But we still have to officially vote on it.
Right.
So,
Just have to keep my notes. All right. So to vote on Mr. Bassinger being contacted to become the new candidate. And I will also add not only Mr. Quinn, but Mr. Shahan and Mr. Rock will also get
yes.
thank you letters from our group.
Yep.
So we will go ahead and vote now. So Mike Davis.
Mr. Bassinger, yes.
Okay. Ralph Acton.
Yeah, I'll agree with passengers.
And Linda Mather.
Bassinger, yes.
And Kurt Connor.
Passenger.
Jay Michelin.
Yes.
And Les.
Yes, for Mr. Bassinger.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Quick question. With this, you'll be notifying him and he should be here for the next meeting, is that correct?
Well, as soon as the Board of County Commissioners confirms it, we're going to get him on for the February, we can't do the February, we're going to have to wait till March to get him on.
Okay.
But the next meeting, that's less than a quarter, so I think he'll be here.
Okay. Thank you.
And for Mr. Quinn, as well as a letter to everybody, I'm going to call him up personally and have a brief discussion with him.
Okay.
Okay. We went a little bit out of order, and maybe it's because of me, because we just blended right into new business. So I've got some new monkey business to report to you. I just wanted to review some of our new projects and new initiatives. Well, the big thing in my mind is Moffett. The Board of County Commissioners, after 4.5 months of negotiation, entered into a cooperative economic incentive agreement with the Moffett Cancer Research Center. And this is a very important milestone for the county as far as our evolution as a destination and a prominent place in the region. The facility and property is 775 acres. It has the entitlement to build up to 24 million square feet of business park and office research development. This is for the core infrastructure. The Board of County Commissioners is funding the Spine Collector Road that traverses the property from Sun Lake Extension up to Ridge Road Extension. All the water, sewer, and reclamation mains will be funded through the county. And the first phase of infrastructure, which will support the first 1.4 million square feet of development. Moffett has also agreed to proceed with vertical construction on the property with their first building within a timely period of 5 years, and it'll be 128,000 square feet. But it's not a 128,000 square foot project. It is a millions of square feet, and this is just the kickoff to get the process going. And we did it because we had to go out and get bonding authorization from the Board of County Commissioners to construct Sun Lake from the Moffett road intersection of that alignment all the way up to Route 52. So we came in as a package, and the Board of County Commissioners authorized $101 million worth of infrastructure on Tuesday. And I don't, I read a paper and I'm very well read. I don't know of any other county in the Tampa Bay area or even on the west coast of Florida that's ever done that type of support to economic development before. It's quite notable. The second thing showing how the county is differentiating itself. We have broken ground at the Overpass Business Park. That project, it's been dear to me because we never really had a business park project that was generated here by the county. And we competitively bid out the construction. It was estimated at $2.88 million. It came in the bid at $2.6 million. So we came in $200,000 below the estimated probable costs. A local contractor, BRW Contracting of Land O'Lakes, got the low bid award. And we entered into a geotechnical agreement to make sure that the development ready site conditions are suitable. So we have that. We have a construction manager engaged, a civil engineer, to keep the contractor on track and honest. I'm saying that, I'm sure they're honest, but making sure they're in compliance with their agreement. And we are going to be completing that construction phase of land improvement by the end of the summer. That's our schedule. And then there'll be a closing where the Rooker companies from Atlanta, Georgia will proceed with closing on the property. And we were going to be issuing a joint press release with Rooker in the next week or so, announcing the groundbreaking on the property. And I'm sure they'll use that for their marketing efforts. The third thing I'm proud to say, it doesn't directly involve penny funds, but the Santander Bank company, the bank is the fourth largest bank in Europe. They're also, I think they're number 17 in the world. They have a very big consumer lending division into Latin America, and their car service center and administration center will be here in Pasco County. They've moved a lot of people out of Latin America and created the jobs here, primarily Puerto Rico as well. So this is a consolidation, and some of the elements of this business is a reshoring story. So we're real happy with that. It's redevelopment and reshoring. So that's good stuff, and it's foreign direct investment. So those are the things.
Number of jobs that's coming with that?
875, sir. It'll be over a 5-year period of time that they'll be. But I'll tell you what, I know the floor plans intimately because we're helping them with expedited processing. And the facility will have the capacity for over 900 new employees, but they've committed to 875. So we're in a new budget season, and it's kind of this. There's a lot of ingredients to the stew right now. The Board of County Commissioners is entertaining their new strategic plan, their 5-year plan. It terminates this fiscal year. So we're engaged in assisting and facilitating a new plan and working with our senior leadership and county elected officials. We're also in a new budget season. And if you recall, the existing 10-year penny for Pasco that we're in now from 2015 to 2025, the referendum was passed in 2012. So we have to start thinking about the new penny for Pasco. And we have to think about what are we doing today, what we can do it better, and what we're not doing. So I think from the area that we could expand our service level here in the county is really supporting the small business community. We don't have any direct assistance programs for small business besides indirect things like, we have a Smart Starts program for incubators. We lend money through microloans and other various things, but we don't really have a small service support group. And I noted that a lot of businesses that want to undertake improvements and do capital projects and business expansion projects, once they commit to doing these expansions, they trigger an ordinance provision that they have to be updated to meet our land development code. And that usually involves parking, landscaping, and a lot of other things that they're undercapitalized. They don't have the credit facilities to go to a bank. So I'd like to come up with a proposal where we actually lend them the money to be in compliance with our code at zero interest and give them a couple of years. And I'll tell you why, because I have spoken to various small business entities. Give you an example. A guy comes in, he owns a moving company, moving and storage. He buys a piece of property with a couple of burnt out trailers, wrecked cars. I mean, it was blighted. On his own dime, he closes on the property, cleans up the property. It was a scourge of a street, and he improves the building and all that, and then he's got to upgrade his facility and put in parking and a lot of other improvements. And he said, I'd be glad to do it. Just give me 3 years to get on my feet, get my cash flow up. So if we were able to extend him the money, because it's to our benefit that he comes to code, and not be a burden with a lot of carry costs, I think we should do this with a small guy, because over 60% of our economy is built on the backs of small business. And how can we be unique as a county if we're just big box and corporate or vanilla? I think small business is important here. The second thing that I realize we're missing is redevelopment dollars. So I'd like to have a seed program on redevelopment. And I'd like to expand that story, and I'll tell you in a second, into the New Penny Initiative as a marketing item. So I've been looking at redevelopment throughout Florida, and I've noted one thing: in areas that are semi-blighted or have the capacity to become blighted, where there's empty big boxes and empty shopping centers, without some economic incentive, you're not going to get a broad-based redevelopment program for a long time. And we're starting to get it. We're starting to get it without a lot of dollars. So in the Harbors area, that's west of Little all the way over to the Route 19 corridor and areas of Route 52, that's our primary older areas where the corridors are semi-blighted. In some areas, we have a lot of vacancies. Well, you know what? Those vacancies become broken windows and homeless and graffiti and drugs. We don't want to go there. We want to get things going as quickly as possible. So I think for some catalyst redevelopment, we really need some county support and help. They've done it in various other counties in our area. So in Lee County, Sarasota County, Pinellas County, they have support programs for small business and redevelopment. And I'm going to create a business plan, create a business plan initiative, and I'm going to go in front of the board, if Dan will let me, and ask for more money to expand our service area and level of service. Right now, we only do one thing in these blighted areas that I just mentioned. We provide mobility fee break of 75%, but it's not enough. And maybe we could think of some tools and work in some ad valorem tax rebates or something to get some skin in the game. Because all the big redevelopment projects I've seen, and whether it be in opportunity zones or no opportunity zones, there was always some equity in from the local government. And without that, we get nothing going. But I have to tell you, I am very hopeful about Route 19. First of all, down in Holiday, we had a shopping center bought for $8.5 million. No incentives. The landlord comes in. He's the guy that's doing the Wesley Chapel Container Park. He filled the whole place, leased the whole place up. He immediately cleaned up the facade, installed landscaping, regroomed the property. He's put in about maybe $4 or $5 million of improvements, and he's going to build a freestanding restaurant and destination in the front and make that an important area that draws people into Holiday. We also, up in Port Richey, a company called Insurium. They're a kind of an insurance broker focusing on Medicare. They came in and they created 138 high-paying jobs, filling a portion of a vacant shopping center. So we're starting to get some interest without shelling out public dollars. But we need to really have a more comprehensive way of getting things going quicker. So we'd love to have bus rapid transit down to Clearwater and St. Pete's along Route 19. You could have nodal stops. You could change the land use. You can throw in some dollars to incentivize and direct development in these areas. And I think we could be very successful. These are catalyst projects. Once you get these projects in place and the infrastructure and framework in place, then the private sector, the real estate market will take care of the rest. But there's some heavy lifting to do. Route 52 from Route 19 towards Little has a lot of blighted areas. And we just keep talking about Route 19, and there's some areas on Land O'Lakes Boulevard that could use some help. Down at 301 in the southeastern section of the county is some very important neighborhoods that could turn around quickly. And I see Holiday turning first because that's when you come out of Pinellas, there you are. So, I mean, you know, it's going to be a hot area. So I want to really start putting some money into that. And going into our next campaign for Penny for Pasco, look, we delivered. Okay. So in 2012, where were we? We were in the rears of one of the worst economic recessions in our modern history. And to some respect, I think the county had an inferiority complex. You know, we wanted to be noted, and we wanted to have more balanced development that we're not just relying on residential construction. So the Penny delivered. We have the Moffitt Cancer Center deal would not have happened without Penny for Pasco. We delivered pads and pours, office buildings, light industrial buildings. They're being filled up. They're being constructed. We have Medler Toledo, Touchpoint Medical, well-built, True Sims. We have the Rooker deal, and we're underwriting that with $3.7 million in incentives for the first 400,000 square feet. And we're doing things up in Lacucci with penny dollars because we're involved in underwriting the design costs for road improvements that the state of Florida is going to be paying to get jobs in Lacucci for the first time in 40 years. So we are doing things with a penny, but I think when we come back, it's always easy to ask for additional dollars when you have something else. And I think the something else is the story of what made Pasco's business community grow and what we base it on. And those are our resident entrepreneurs that stake their homes out here in Pasco and their businesses. And if we do that, and also do something for the West Side. I get more and more calls. In fact, at 4:30 today, I have a call from a longtime resident who lives on the West Side of Pasco, asking why all the attention goes to Wesley Chapel. Now, that's not a fair statement, but I think it's rhetorical. But the point is that we have a large concentration of population here on the West. And if we showed them you can't do one size fit all. Greenfields and these new projects and these new corporations are beautiful, they're important, but you have to apply different medicine to the West Side. And I think we'd have a more comprehensive penny effort if we went out and also tried to take care of these, they're stigmatizing areas of the county, frankly. It affects our reputation and our community health. So I think that's what we want to do. And we can also jump on the story about job skills training and addressing the homeless crisis as an empowerment type of effort versus a entitlement effort. And that's what we do here at the JEOC and in our OEG office. So that's my new business, and I just wanted you to get an idea of what's going on in our office. Yes, sir.
I have a question for you. Of these little projects that you'd like to do with the small businesses and everything, what's the percentage of the penny money versus other tax dollars that would be funding it? Is it all penny money?
No, well, first of all, right now our penny money, according to an opinion by the county attorney's office, can only be used for qualified target industry. So I would like to ask for seed money, non-seed money of the penny. And number two, when we go in for our new penny referendum, I'd like to expand the language to deal with small business community support. You know, in Pinellas County, and I guess it's not totally fair because they're a fully developed county for the most part, they use a portion of their penny for redevelopment. And down in Lee County in 2017, the county commissioners down there felt, hey, look, we're not doing enough for the older parts of our county. We've got northern Fort Myers that we'd like to spend some do something with. So they seeded for 2 fiscal years, $2 million. And they wanted to see if they would be able to provide some transformational projects there. And even after those 2 years and those $2 million, they're still pumping money in there because it's working. As a matter of fact, they just appropriated over another $1 million for fiscal year 20. So I want to look at these current things on the ground that other local government is doing as case studies and kind of, pick what really is going to work here for our county and the stuff that's most successful. Over in Pinellas County, the county has CRA areas, and those CRA areas, it didn't matter if it's an incorporated area or unincorporated area. The county has a community development office that's doing redevelopment all in these areas, and it's transforming the older kind of rundown areas of Pinellas County. And I think we're just as, right now things are good, and I think we need the help. And I think overall the rate of return on this investment is going to be enormous because, leveraging ROI when you're dealing with our older areas, the tax base is stagnant. And you have more unemployment, you have more people in need. You could redirect the attention from need into opportunity, and that's dollars. So that's my direction. I also like to add, I think the JEOC should consider petitioning the BCC to go beyond the penny. I like citizen oversight for everything I'm doing. And sometimes, Santander, it wasn't a penny project, but it was a job creating project. So I'd like you to consider at least, going forward that maybe when we do the new penny referendum that we expand the role of your oversight group because I enjoy working with you and there's so much more we can do as a team.
David, I've got a couple of questions. The first one is, the microloan committee. When you were talking about, and I'm all for giving small business opportunities to get loans and be successful and get better. But are you duplicating what they're already doing with the microloan committee?
Well, so that's a good question. Not really. The microloan committee gives higher risk businesses a loan when they couldn't get conventional consumer financing. So they're paying 7 or 8% or whatever the interest rate is there. The county has done some lending. Besides the pads and pours, which are seed money for development, we've also provided the Point Distillery using penny funds because they were a qualified target industry. We lent them $153,000 at 3.5%. They went out and bought equipment and hired, 10 new people. So we have done some of that. We have a limited COVID program that's federally funded now with $500,000 for capital projects related to COVID, but we really haven't done much. And the microloan program is really for a general business loan. We want to focus on compliance with our land development code and just help people get legal. And so we don't want to impede redevelopment. We want to motivate it, and we don't want to lose projects because they can't afford to comply with our ordinance.
And my second question is about that Insurum.
Yes, sir.
Wasn't that a Pinellas County business that's moved into Pasco?
Well, that's correct. First of all, they were designated as the fastest growing business in Tampa Bay. Yeah. They're still down in Pinellas, but they opened up here because they feel that the northwestern part of our county, it gets them into the retirement communities up in Hernando and Citrus. And they're a broker. They sell different types of Medicare products. And this is a good story because talking about the service level, we hear some stories that maybe we're not providing the customer service that's requested of us out in our development and business community. So these guys, the Insurum folk, they came to us and it was the beginning of September. And they said, gee, we really need your help because our insurance selling season begins on October 1st. That's the open enrollment period for Medicare. And 40% of our business is conducted in 3 months. And they were raw. They had wires hanging out of the ceiling and it was just a mess. And in 3 weeks, we got them in the door on October 1st. And this is really our development services team and our building and construction services peeps. They are fantastic. And we're doing it right now with Santander, where we're moving that along at lightning speed. With just when it's so in December, the county gave them incentives, and they're going to be in 115,000 square feet by the end of April. And I mean, this is a huge capital project. I mean, the place was raw. It was up to the steel beams when I walked in there in December. So those are some of the things that we do behind the scenes. That's part of the services we provide to the local community. So if there's not any other questions, I'm going to segue in. I wanted to give you some time to meet, him, but Stephen Smith is our business analyst. Stephen is working on his MBA. In March, I believe he's going to graduate. And he's the type of person that we love to have here in Pasco because he's highly motivated. He's a creative person. His passion is for public service, and he's willing to get off his duff and do the extra thing to become a better employee and professional here. And I want you to see some of his work and some of our compliance and financial reporting innovations that we've introduced over the last year. Thank you. Steve?
Good afternoon. You could consider me dessert. I'm at the end, okay? So, next slide. I just wanted to kind of give an overview. This is 5 key functions that I perform typically involving monitoring expense accounts, submitting the payment memos, maintaining the SOPs or standard operating procedures, ensuring compliance on the required reporting. Some of that is through our office and some of it is the required reporting of our awardees, where they have to send us quarterly reports on what they're doing, such as AmSkills or Pasco Hernando. Additionally, generating the financial reports that David talked about, assisting in the budgeting process, and then maintaining and monitoring our key performance indicators. So this is an example of an SOP. When I came to the office, we had 1 SOP. Now we have about 7. And David challenged me to go through the different processes that we perform and come up with a standardized list so that a new employee could pick that up and do the process. An existing employee that may not do the process frequently could refer back to make sure they're on target. And ultimately, it allows us to be organized and efficient in how we operate. Additionally, throughout the year, things change, and that gives us the opportunity to go back and update these SOPs so that they're more relevant to the things that are going on. A big part of what I have been doing in the last year since I joined the county, David asked me at one point to come up with exactly where we were at in the penny funds. And to do that required a lot of learning on my part. A lot of it was baptism by fire, calling people and figuring out how to get into different systems and getting access to different systems. But what I ended up developing, this is an example on the screen. It's the project pivot table. And I don't know if you guys are all familiar with Excel or not, but at the bottom of the screen there, you can see different tabs, and I have different colors to keep me on track on what's going on with the project. But each one of those tabs represents a project that we have going on. And on that tab, it includes the amount of money that was approved for the project, the amount of money that's been spent on the project, and it breaks it down by actual expense categories. So in any given project, I can click on that tab and you can tell what's gone out for job creation, what's gone out for a loan, what's gone out for AmSkills or Pasco Hernando expenses. That each of those individual tabs then roll up to this pivot table. And if you look at the screen on the right, you can see those blue boxes, and those are all the projects. So if you wanted to look at just one project, you can click on that project and the pivot table to your left will just present you with the details from that project. Additionally, up at the top, it's hard to see, but there's a box there that you can say if you only want to view penny funds. So I can tell the pivot table, I only want to look at penny funds. I only want to look at these projects. Or at the bottom of the screen, you can actually pick a targeted timeline. Maybe I want a certain fiscal year or a certain quarter, or you can even break it down by month. So it's really become a time-saving pivot table that you can go to at any point and look up any kind of detail you need without having to go into 50 different screens, which is what I had to do to develop the spreadsheet. Another piece of what I've been doing is creating reports. So some of the reports that you guys have seen in the presentation today, this is an example of one of those where I keep this reports from the other projects into these tables so that we can see exactly where we're at on any given day. With this particular one breaks down the penny funds, which you guys oversee. And so it breaks it down by program, and then also you can see the amount paid versus the amount encumbered, which is the amount that we haven't paid out yet, but we need to hold back because we've already have an agreed incentive that we need to pay out at some point. The last piece that I've worked on, the county had asked all of the departments to set up their own key performance indicators. And so David and I early on kind of went back and forth, and we had to go through several folks in the administration to agree that these were the right metrics. We settled on metrics around employment, job creation, unemployment rates. We looked at the average wages in our county versus other counties in the area, as well as the Tampa Bay, Florida, US. We looked at the areas of the county, the market areas of the county, and where the assessed value is increasing higher in different areas. And our goal was to target, for instance, the west side of the county along 19. We would like to see them increase property values at a higher rate than other areas of the county. So that's one of the target areas that we've looked at. And I work with the gentleman in GIS, sent him the appraisal reports, and he's able to pull out this area is appraised at this value, this area at that value, et cetera. So on a quarterly basis and an annual basis, I update this data, comes from various sources. It does take some time, but as you can see, based upon the targets that we set up, in most of these KPI metrics, we are actually exceeding what our target was. You can see a couple of those. One of them is a quarterly target, and one of them is a yearly target where we're not quite where we need to be, but the majority of those we are exceeding where we said we would be at. And these are mostly updated through December. There are a few metrics that in relation to employment data that's not going to come out until the middle of next month for last year. So some of these will update at that point.
Steve, I just want to interrupt 1 second. So the KPIs that were in place previously, Steve and I creatively coming up with different alternatives, were just economic trend following. So when the economy is good, it looks like we're doing a great job, and the economy is bad, we're not doing a good job. So we tried to provide a relative comparison, look at the rates of change, and we're trying to measure ourselves in the velocity of our performance.
Up to the microphone next time.
Well, it doesn't work.
Oh, there.
Okay.
There's a switch on the top.
It's this push switch, right?
Yes. Yep.
And it's not turning red, is it? Turn red? Hello? Okay.
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, so I'll say it again for the record. So we've noticed that a lot of the KPIs that were in place in the county strategic plan and the previous staffing at OEG, all they did was we have to grow by 5% a year or something like that. But we don't have control over that. We have, and when things are going great, it looks like you're doing superstar work. And then in the recession, you're doing lousy, and it looks like you're not doing your job. It's not meaningful. So when we're apples to apples with the trend in the economy, but we're outperforming our peers in the state on a relative basis, then we know where we stand. And that's really the genesis of these KPIs. And I also would like to say that when I got here at OEG, frankly, our financial reporting was abysmal. I mean, it was scary. And before Steve got here, to make my reports, I had to use other people's information. It was fragmented, and as Steve pointed out, he had to go through a zillion sources, and we decided to take control. So these are your books, and now you have a complete set of books in an accounting system that you should be proud of and you could use yourself. All you have to do is reach out, and the door is open to look under the rock here.
Absolutely. Any questions?
Just a comment, this Excel is awesome. That pivot table just blew me away.
It took some, wasn't one of my skill sets, but luckily the county offered a training course and I went to it, and through that I was able to learn some valuable information that helped me put that together.
Well, I can attest to that when I first came on board, going through those numbers and hodgepodging and, just seemed no rhyme or reason. You had to reach for so many different places to get stuff that you've got on here. So it looks terrific.
One of the other challenges that I faced, David asked me to kind of pretty up the reports, make them look a little more presentable. As I went through the documents that I found on our hard drive, I would find different numbers on different spreadsheets. So it became questionable as to whether I could even rely on those numbers. So that's when I started from scratch and started really digging into the systems to find out the actual expenditures, not on a spreadsheet, but in the actual accounting system. And I'm confident, because I've matched it with the Office of Management and Budget numbers, that our penny funds are actually truly to the penny.
Where is your MBA coming from?
St. Leo.
St. Leo.
All fellow alumni. We'll be talking later.
So, I have a succession program in my office. I feel that part of my role as the leader is to develop future leaders in Pasco County. So Steve will be in a position to ascend to a program administrative level, and Shelby is taking advanced Excel and skill training to absolutely grow as well in the organization. Because, we lose people because, the thing is, they get trained to some extent, they have experience, they go on. We want them to view the county as a future in their careers.
So I appreciate all your hard work. This looks phenomenal. Could I have you go back to the pivot table for me? Please, okay. Is this, so one of my questions is the other column. I hate other.
I agree. And it was a challenge as to how many columns that you're going to add.
Is any of that other stuff coming from penny money?
Some of it is. There are funds that we have used. For instance, a lot of what we've done on Overpass Business Park, that would be categorized in here as other, because it's not really a job creation specifically. It's more infrastructure related. So that would be one of the examples of penny money in there.
Mukuchi Engineering is another.
Okay. Okay, that was just kind of, because I know that this was paying for Pasco all, and it's kind of a mixture, correct?
Correct.
Of everything.
But Mike, if you pivot to a project, the other becomes granular.
Right. Yeah, no. It looks very.
That particular view on the pivot table is all projects and all expenditures. So this includes both penny and general fund expenses on this particular one.
Right. That's why I was asking if I figured that as well. So I think you've done a phenomenal job. I greatly do appreciate your hard work on this. Both Kurt and I came on at the same time, and we were, well, I have no hair, not because of this, but had I had hair,
I had more hair when I started here.
I would have pulled it out. So.
Not much.
Yeah, I think a lot of the committee members weren't here before I got here with one of the committee reports to the board, but that was a turning point in your direction as a group.
Could I ask that you send out this PowerPoint to our Ms. Shelby? So
absolutely.
Week 2 EOC members for those who were either WebEx or not not present today, so that they at least have the opportunity to see this.
Absolutely.
Be great, please.
Yes, I know Miss Mather has it, because we were expecting Hope to be in person, so, but we'll just make sure that everything gets sent around again.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me, what I'd like to also do is maybe we could integrate this with our annual report to the board, how we've updated our financial reporting and run a couple of slides and some overview, because this is substantive, this is important.
Yes, I think that would be good, as long as it's filtered out to be penny on money only.
Absolutely.
I have no problems with that.
Any other questions? All right.
Good job.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, moving on. Does anybody have anything else we need to discuss before we choose our next meeting date?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay.
So David, you mentioned you would welcome the JEOC provide oversight for more than just the penny. And I'd like to stand behind that and agree. Not so much in the sense of oversight, worrying about things going wrong, but oversight in the sense of being citizens, helping the board and the county know what's going right.
Which way would you have me do it? More immediately, or wait for the new penny initiative and discuss it at that point? It's your call.
So I don't know the process as well, but off the top of my head, the new penny initiative is an opportunity to provide some structure now that we've lived with the penny for a while and know something about it.
Well, you notice unofficially, I provide you with more information than just penny because I feel it's all tied together.
Right.
So I'll continue to do that, but I'd like to formalize it, especially if we're talking about redevelopment and small business support.
So, as far as now or later, I think that if you're working on something currently, I'm sure you're working on that small business seed money and all that. As you find, areas that you might want to incorporate some more oversight, I think because we only meet quarterly, I think that, the baby steps would be well so that, everything can be adjusted and as we move forward right before we do present it to the board at the end of the penny.
All right, there's one other item I forgot, I failed to mention under new business. On February 9th, we're going in front of the Board of County Commissioners with a $500,000 landscaping grant program for commercial redevelopment for small business assistance. So we are slowly taking baby steps in our process to aid that element of the economy.
And that's for penny?
No, that we're going to use tree mitigation funds. Funds are collected every year when people cut down trees. It was just sitting in an account. I know some of the money's been used for library renovations and things and whatnot, but we want to go and use some of that money and help the little guy in our community.
That sounds like a good option.
Perhaps we could have a new business item to discuss at our next meeting about potential additional areas for oversight if you would care to present that to us at the time.
All right, we can put that on and, it'll be on new business and for discussion and we'll kick it around.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other topics or discussion? All right, so we'll need to schedule our next meeting, which should be in April. I do remember Ms. Mathis requesting it being after the 15th of April. So how does April 21st? That's a Wednesday. Do we have to check with the availability here in the room? So it's far out, but I remembered Miss Mathis.
Yes, that works well for me. Thank you.
Okay. So should we tentatively, is everybody good with that? Same time, same channel? 2 to 4 on the 21st. And if the room is already occupied.
Do you have access to this room's calendar?
No, I can try and look it up, but I'm not sure. Probably a couple of dates would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that 20th to 22nd range, the Tuesday through Thursday.
Yeah, you guys want to, we'll tentatively plan for the 21st, but try to.
The 20th, there is a Board of County Commissioners meeting that is already scheduled.
Okay, all right.
It'd be the 21st or 22nd.
So just out of curiosity, what was the hiccup for yesterday? What was, because originally we were planning for yesterday and then it got changed. What meeting took place here that?
There was another meeting that the commissioners had yesterday. I'm not sure what it was. I just got a notification that said it had to be changed.
Oh, okay. So it was a commissioner thing, not another oversight or something?
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, next time, just tell them the commissioners, they got playing around us.
Yeah, I'll be sure to do that. See you guys.
I'll put it under your signature.
Hey, you can absolutely give my cell phone number. I'll talk to each one of them.
The other thing is I know that these are all tentative. Our team has asked, since we have to do public notice, and things like that are a little bit different now with COVID, if there's a chance that we could do the next 3, quarterly meetings. I don't know if that's even possible for everybody, if that's too far out to even look at.
Oh, to plan out the next 3?
Yeah.
Got no issue with that. It's always subject to change.
We could do the 21st, 22nd, whatever the room's available. We'll just do 3-month increments after that.
Yeah, I would say go ahead and tentatively do that. Does anybody have any issues with that?
I don't have an issue. I think it's smart to do that.
Yeah.
Miss Mathers?
I think it's a great idea.
What day do you want?
April 21st.
Say that again, Linda.
I think that's a great idea to plan advance.
Okay.
Of course, everything would be tentative because
Yep.
I'd be happy to go ahead and if you don't have access to it. Already is a 2 to 4. What about the 22nd? Or are you saying that? Okay.
Do you want to come here? Sure.
The thing also is planning out, we can get the room reserved.
Hey, Linda, can you mute yourself? Thank you.
Okay, so it looks to me like that entire week in the afternoon, most afternoons are already taken. We could do a Friday afternoon, but I know that not a lot of people love doing Friday afternoon. We could do morning meetings if we think that would be okay.
That's really up to the committee where you're at your leisure.
It looks like, of course, Tuesday is a no. We could do Monday afternoon, the 19th, if we want to do the 2 to 4.
Just out of curiosity, what's the 28th look like the following week, the following Wednesday?
Looks like it's.
It appears that it's open. That seems odd, though, doesn't it?
It seems odd.
It appears that it's open.
It appears it's open, so we can lock it in. What about the 28th?
28th is good.
The 27, 28, 29, all of those are, well, I'm sorry, not 27, 28 and 29.
Let's go for the 28th.
5, I think.
Wednesday, the 28th.
Yeah, that one's.
Actually, any day that week of the 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
Yeah, let's try to keep it on the Wednesday. Yeah, and
That's the 28th,
Yes, sir.
28th.
So it appears to be open. I'll confirm that with staff just to make sure that there's nothing on there, and then we'll just go ahead and do 3-month increments from there.
Yeah,
And you're looking at 2 o'clock, right? 2 to 4.
2 to 4.
yes. Did you get that, Linda? 28th?
Yes, I have it. Thank you.
Okay. And then Miss Shelby, when you get, or should I say Miss Roberts, when you get your confirmation, you'll send us out an email.
Yes, I will definitely do that.
And I also greatly do appreciate the email reminders to our personal emails.
So I second that.
Okay, and can I get a motion to adjourn then?
So moved.
I can't finish that sentence. All right, and a second? Second by Les. All right.
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
That was Les? All right. Consider this meeting adjourned.